In the dark of love I sit and wait. This is home. This is where I ought to be. This is home. Right here with you and me. At night I toss and turn when you're not here with me.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of I Am I. My name is still Joshua Ansley, and we are moving on today in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. We are moving on from the first limb of the yamas, right, which I've talked about is often translated as restraints, right, things that you should not do, and I do not like that interpretation because I don't like the idea of should. Should leads to shame, and this is just a perspective. It's not about right or wrong. I don't give a fuck about that right or wrong shit. So the perspective is that it's not should not, right? It's just an understanding that from that absolute purity and divine center of who we are, how we would behave. And these are mindsets and ways of being that help us recognize that, right? To bring us back to our core. And ultimately at the end, all the practices don't mean shit. The practices take you there, but the practices are not the divinity. They're just something that guides us there. So, moving on to the second is the niyamas, which is the things that you should do, right? Or the ideas of, in the positive, things that you do want to do, right? And it's how we relate to ourselves. So, a lot of times it's translated as the should nots are things how you relate to the external world, and this is how you relate to yourself, right? So, we talk about the first one, which is Saucha, which is purity or cleanliness, right? And so, looking at it this way, I feel like that, it can be like, oh, this idea of being pure. And I know as a rebellious person myself who's like, fuck God and all this kind of shit, is like, to say I want to move into purity can be a difficult space because like, I don't want to be pure. I want to be dirty. I want to be rebellious and all that kind of stuff. And I teach at a recovery center for, I do a bunch of different things. But I went in there and was talking about purity and what people's perspectives on purity were. And people were like, chastity and all this kind of stuff. This ideas of like how we're supposed to behave, this idea of being, again, restricted and being a certain way that we don't have these dark thoughts or these negative thoughts or something like that. And I was like, well, freaking buggers. So I was like, well, let's take it into a different perspective. I was like, if you wanted, your gram of Coke, let's let me talk to on their level. It's like, if you wanted your gram of Coke, and you knew it was cut with something, you wouldn't want it cut with something. You want it absolutely pure. You want that powerful, strong, pure core of what it really is, right? And that's what we're looking at within ourselves, is getting this pure space. It's not about this absolutely chaste space. It's about understanding that transformation is not about trying to be something that we're not. It's not about fighting who we are in the moment. It's about recognizing that as we remove the impurities, we allow the purity and the beauty of who we truly are at our core to shine through. And it's a huge difference. That's a huge difference in perspective, right? So even the idea of sin, the idea of the Western and the Catholic idea or the Christian idea of sin is something that if you do something wrong and you go to hell. It's in this duality. That's not what we're talking about here. The Eastern idea of sin is a little bit more of what takes you to hell, but hell being the unstable mind, the chaos, and that hell that, again, religion is for people who are afraid of going to hell. Spirituality is for people who have been there, right? And they're coming back from it and learning a way to be that is going to take them into the space of their true divinity, right? So, coming in from that space, it's like recognizing that the orderliness to life and the beauty in that, and the beauty in the cleanliness that, like, to like, for instance, my car is, I'm going to change arms. My car is an absolute freaking mess. And that is a problem when I need to be somewhere and need to have my life working orderly, and I need to look for a particular book, and then I can't find it because it's in my freaking shit everywhere, because my life is a mess now. That's affecting it, and it cascades down, and I come out of this space of stability and be like, oh, I know where my book is, and this orderliness, it creates more chaos, right? So when I can get into a space of cleanliness within my life and start and allow, and from that space that allows my mind to be clear and know where things are and not have to worry about it, and that allows me to move into a space of creation and flow and artistry and things like that, as opposed to having to be in the space of chaos, right? And it's from a space of cleanliness. It's a matter of, if we know our cars are not going to function well if we put mud in the gas tank, right? But I'm sitting there chowing down on tubs of vegan ice cream because I'm a slave to my senses, instead of recognizing like these are absolutely machines that we use, and these machines work better when they're getting the pure stuff coming in. When I'm getting that pure shit, that's pure uncut shit. So when we get that purity happening, right? So we have to be mindful of what we're bringing into our bodies. So that's the physical aspect. And some of us are so in tune with that and powerfully in tune with that to the space of we're addicted to that, and we're not even recognizing that is an impurity. Even an addiction to the spiritual life can be an impurity, right? Because it's still trying to get somewhere or be attached to something. Attachment to the spiritual practice itself is the hardest one to let go of in the end. So allowing ourselves to be careful of what we imbibe in all forms, not just physically, but to cleanse and pure our minds, our bodies, our soul energetically, right? Watch out for those EMFs, right? Like, I don't know how serious you want to get with it. I'm not going to talk about, keeping your phone in your pocket and it's fucking zapping your balls or some shit like that. But, you might want to be careful of that. Because that, on an energetic level, it kind of makes sense, like microwaves and shit going through the air and fucking going through your brain and whatnot, but I'm not telling you that. And I'm selling machines that'll clear that out for only $10.99. Hey, here's some snake oil. It's hard to know what the fucking snake oil is and whatnot is. Now the CBD oil, right, is the snake oil, or is it like, motherfucker sold me on shit telling me that it's that my endocannabinoid system is it part of the body that the society and the government is stopping us from knowing, like, because the way we respond to, I don't fucking know, dude, whatever. But anyway, so we have to be mindful of what we're imbibing, right? And that means not just the food, but the music that we're listening to, and I feel like such an old fucking preacher when I say this now, because it's like that devil music, and it's not about that. It's about recognizing what you're perpetuating, because I perpetuate authenticity, so my music is still raw and fucked up and real, but it's not perpetuating this idea that I should go out and fuck a bunch of bitches and kill people and stuff like that, and or whatever, or be totally dysfunctional, or dysfunctional love, or whatever the hell, that a lot of popular music does. I'm not saying not to listen to popular music. That's why I'm not a born-again Christian being like, Jesus needs us to listen to only praise music. I do love a good praise song, though. So anyway, but we do have to be mindful of what we're taking in on these levels, right? It's like not rolling over and turning on the TV and having fucking Jerry Springer come on, and that's how you start your day with that absolute dysfunction. We don't even know these machines are so easily programmable, and we've been programmed for so long that we have to be mindful of what we're taking in, right? Rolling over and starting our day with something that's going to be positive, cleansing ourselves out to get rid of the old crap ideas and these old ways of being, the old norms and the old simple, small. Simple's okay, but the small, a way of saying small. It's how do we expand in our lives? And that is really mindful of what the programming is that's coming in, and the people that we surround ourselves with and how they operate. You have to really be mindful of that. I don't know, but you're all a bunch of fucking crazy lunatics anyway if you're watching this, so Lord if I know. I mean, you're going to completely misinterpret what the hell I'm saying anyway. Why do I even fucking bother? I'm so negative. You're so negative. Jeez, you know what? Because we're all gonna end up like these motherfuckers sooner or later. Yeah. Keep your shit clean. Keep your shit pure. Anyway, but it's about removing the impurities. It's a different perspective, and I think that's really important. And I think it's important to recognize that even with our breath, we're exhaling all the time these impurities, right? We're cleansing itself out, and your body's trying to help you on so many levels. So we have to be mindful of, even on the exhales, of a strong breathing practice of where we can let go of what is no longer needed, what old ideas and thought patterns and emotions and trauma is no longer needed. It has to be released out, and that's a fucking difficult thing to do. The impurities coming out is not comfortable. It's not going to be comfortable. It's not about being comfortable. It's about elevating and rising up. I love you guys. In Lakesh Lakin, I am you. You are me. Namaste.
In the dark of love, I sit and wait. This is home. This is where I ought to be. This is home. Right here with you and me. At night I toss and turn when you're not here with me. I'm not lost in my